and Sid in the morning. The new show, Mischief and More. 77 WABC and the WABC radio app.
Well, he was the best. He still is the best. He'll always be the best. You don't need cable TV when you've got BillO'Reilly.com. His TV shows, his interviews, his videos, his daily columns are still far and away the most insightful in politics and news today, including his brand new one, fresh off of Mueller's appearance yesterday. Thursday Message from Bill O'Reilly, and we are honored to have him on every Thursday. Here he is, everybody, the great Bill O'Reilly.
Big Bill!
There he is.
Yay, I'm up for mischief.
You like that part, don't you? Hey, so reading your column today, it really comes down to one thing. Mueller yesterday, how he treated the president, the word you continued to use was unfair.
Yeah, President Trump called me last night, about 11 o'clock.
Wow.
Is that right, off of your column?
Yeah, and the book, because I had to talk to him one more time to wrap up the United States of Trump.
Gotcha.
So he called me, and I had a long conversation with him. And basically, he believes that with Mueller, it was a personal thing, that Mueller didn't find anything that would rise to impeachment or indictment or any of the mints, all right? There were not even junior mints. There were no mints, all right? This didn't find it. But because Mueller doesn't like him, and this, again, is from President Trump's point of view, he had to go out and embarrass him and signal to the swamp, as President Trump puts it, that Mueller still believes that Donald Trump did something illegal. That was the signal. So, that's the president's point of view. My column says what Robert Mueller did was unfair, because if you are an officer of the court, as he is ultimately, and you don't have enough evidence, you can't impugn someone. Even O.J. Simpson, that's the best example. We all knew, all of us who covered that story, and I did, we all knew he was guilty. He did it, all right? And he got off because the jury was sympathetic to him, and basically the prosecution was all over the place and didn't focus in on two or three things that were obvious that Simpson did. But the prosecution had no right and didn't come out afterward and say, we're going to take this to federal court because we know he's guilty. They shook their heads. They said, we still think he's guilty, but they didn't make a play of it in a sense that, well, we're not going to accept the verdict. That's what Mueller did, and that wasn't fair, not just to President Trump, but to any American. Well, I'm not going to accept the fact that after 2 years and $30 million, didn't find anything. So you do it, Congress. You go over and do it. I just thought that was really unseemly and a lack of due process.
It certainly did seem that way. And, of course, in the absence, Bill O'Reilly, of any good explanation as to why Mueller came out, except for what you just said, that he dislikes the president, but he could have just left it alone. But he was in negotiations with Nadler about testifying on Nadler, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. I mean, there is some speculation. I know you don't like to engage in it, but in the absence of a good explanation, is it possible that he came out yesterday, he made a deal with Nadler, Nadler will not subpoena him as long as he gave Nadler oxygen to go ahead with impeachment hearings?
If he did make that deal, he didn't do it because he's too smart for that. He would not have made a call or a text or anything like that. Back channel conversations, they happen all the time in Washington, and I think the signal was, if you call me, I'm not going to say anything that I haven't said in the 8 minutes here. Mueller did 8 minutes yesterday. By the way, it's interesting Trump says Mueller didn't like him because he turned him down to be the head of the FBI after he fired Comey. The president says that Mueller lobbied for the job, and Trump turned him down, and that he wouldn't give him his deposit back for a country club membership that Trump owned, and Mueller was moving, and Mueller wanted $15,000 back, and Trump said no.
Are you serious?
That's good.
That's great.
That's juicy.
There you go. That's the inside info that Bill O'Reilly gets, and you can get every day at BillO'Reilly.com. Well, again, there's nothing there legally to get Trump into trouble. You would think there's nothing there to impeach him. That doesn't mean those talks aren't going on every second. Now, Nancy Pelosi seemingly, Bill, balked again yesterday. Do you think we will get to the point where her people will convince her to go ahead and impeach President Trump?
She'll look at the polls that come out probably early next week. Nancy Pelosi is the ultimate insider. She and Mitch McConnell are the two that really understand how the whole thing works. And Pelosi will look at the polls. I don't think this Mueller thing yesterday is going to get a lot of traction outside the media. I think the media, makes a big deal out of it. They got nothing else to do. And they should report it. I'm not saying they shouldn't. But I don't think the regular people are locked in on this anymore. And I think they're tired of it. And I believe that might show up in the polling. When they hear the word impeachment, everybody rolls their eyes now. It's not like it was with Bill Clinton. And by the way, it was interesting to hear Mueller go, well, I can't really do anything. And, immediately I had my staff send me the Mueller report where 11 separate times send me the Starr report. Ken Starr said, the president did this. The president did that. We can prove it. 11 times.
Well, Ken Starr said the president broke the law 11 times.
Yeah.
Mueller seemed to talk about stuff that was unflattering, but not illegal.
But Mueller could have said the same thing.
Right.
So he's making this big deal of, well, I can't bring charges, but so what? You can easily say, well, it's not my job to prosecute. That's the Attorney General's job. But 15 times we can prove that Donald Trump did this. That's the key to the whole thing. That's the key to it. That if you don't have any statement of evidence that President Trump did anything, then you got to drop it. And that's our system.
Right.
So I don't think people really understand that. Yesterday was all about Mueller. Mueller was protecting, as you guys just pointed out. He doesn't want to testify. He doesn't want to go up there. He doesn't want to have anything to do with it anymore. And he still wants to get invited to the cocktail parties. Never underestimate the cocktail party magnet.
Right.
That is so prominent in Washington. Mueller doesn't want to be an outsider. He always wants to be accepted. And by doing this, he said, hey, I don't like him. I don't like him. Don't blame me. And that was so it was all about Mueller. That's what it was going. That's what was going on yesterday.
Yes, and of course, Bill, as you point out, insufficient evidence equals no probable cause equals innocent until proven guilty. At least that's the way it was up until now.
Yeah, Mueller couldn't even get a warrant on what he has now in his report, his 485-page report. If he brought that to a judge and said, "Look, I need a warrant to search Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago place because I think there's something in there," Judge, I can't give you a warrant based on this.
Right.
You don't have anything.
But what about the contradiction between what Barr said about the Office of Legal Counsel rules that you can't indict a president? Barr said that Mueller didn't base his decision not to, harp on the obstruction case because of that. And then Mueller says, no, I never said that. I did base my decision on the OLC rules. I mean, that disparity was the only one contradictory, the one thing that made...
But Mueller backed away. Mueller backed away because Barr's got a whole slew of guys in this conference they had with Mueller where Mueller allegedly said, I don't have enough. I don't have anything.
Right.
Okay? So it's not just Barr. It's Barr and 4 guys in the meeting. And then they say it happened on 3 separate occasions. This is the Attorney General says. But notice this. In his 8 minutes yesterday, Mueller didn't disparage Barr at all. He was very complimentary to Barr. Very complimentary. And if he had been angry with Barr or thought the fix was in, that Barr was running interference for Trump, you would assume that Mueller would say, well, I got an Attorney General who's really not cooperating here. But he didn't. He was complimentary. And that goes back to the cocktail party magnet. He wants it both ways.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
He wants both sides to think he's a good guy. And now nobody thinks he's a good guy.
Wow. Funny.
So
You're
listen, Bill O'Reilly, what did the president say about Bernie and Sid?
We spent, I guess I talked to him close to an hour and probably spent about half an hour on you guys. And, unfortunately, Sid's going to be deported to Israel. I don't know whether he knew that or not. But
Get him out.
Get him out.
He's over there. And then McGurk, Long Beach, I don't think it's getting federal aid, man.
Oh, well.
No. I mean, if you move out of there, maybe it will. But, he's got a grudge. You know him.
Too many Democrats. Listen, BillO'Reilly.com. That's the place, folks. Forget about cable news. BillO'Reilly.com, where you can pre-order The United States of Trump, a book that Bill is writing. Talked to the president last night.
Right, and one quick plug, Father's Day coming up. All the Killing books, including Killing the SS.
Yes.
Great gifts to Dad and Granddad.
Yes.
And if you don't like Dad and Granddad, this keeps them quiet. They're reading.
That's a great point. Those are great books. Bill O'Reilly, fantastic. Again, we love you, pal. Thank you so
All right,
much.
Guys, talk soon.
You
Bye.
too. Excellent job, Bill O'Reilly, who did spend an hour on the phone with President Trump last night. We got the Blitz coming up and Annie from PLJ next hour. Keep it right here.
Bernie and Sid in the morning, 77 WABC.